Oh, is this just going to be frozen on the screen now?
Yep.
Cool. Well, I tried to show everybody a fun video of a guy breaking a bunch of tennis rackets, but I guess I can set it to Steph to put on our stories instead. So we're here. I know we were here last night with a new episode, but, you know, some trades happened, so everybody's back. Sorry, I just had to do that to get that big old video off the screen. Welcome back. It's the whole gang. We got Roscoe, Steph the Fanalist, Biehner, and Suthy. And Dubas is not disappointing this year, to say the least. Making more moves ahead of the Friday deadline, surprising everybody. This one caught me off guard. I don't know about you guys. I wasn't expecting this one to happen. I knew another move was coming, but this is much bigger than I thought it was going to be. So let's go around the table and talk about it.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Mike Ross, public address announcer for your Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is the Leafs Late Night Podcast, your post-game destination. And now, your starting lineup: Roscoe, the Fanalist, Suthy, Biehner, and Darty Brodeur on the Leafs Late Night Podcast.
All right, so let's get the entire breakdown of this trade. So before we talk about what it means, the Leafs have acquired Jake McCabe, Sam Lafferty, a conditional 5th-round pick in 2024, conditional 5th-round pick in 2025 from Chicago, in exchange for a conditional 2025 first-round pick, top 10 protected, 2026 second-round pick, Joey Anderson, and Pavel Gogolev. So, how do we feel? Steph, we'll start with you.
Man, why does this always have to happen when I'm busy doing something? Like the Ryan O'Reilly trade happened in the middle of Friday night that week. And then today, you know, we're busy at work. We don't have time to check our phones all the time. Well, I know I'm on my phone all the time. Sorry, work. But that's completely off guard. And then you have to check if it's real, right? See where the credibility is at. And yeah, this is real life. Yes.
I got to say, McCabe and O'Reilly are two names that we've brought up a lot. Suthy, got to give you credit for talking O'Reilly. I mean, we talked about that. December, you were calling for this. And I think McCabe is one that we were bringing up over the last couple of weeks. So, you know, the pieces are falling into place. It feels like he's really spending. And Suthy, I'll throw it over to you.
After the O'Reilly trade, we always knew the other foot was going to drop eventually, but like you said earlier, we had no idea it was going to be McCabe, and at 50% retained, so he's got 2 more years at $2 million. This guy's a pretty nasty defenseman. I mean, he's someone who we rarely are really going to value, especially come playoff time. So this is another home run for Dubas. This guy's been on fire so far this trade deadline.
Yeah, and a good point. So McCabe is signed for the next 2 years, and Sam Lafferty is signed until the end of next year. Lafferty with a 1.15 cap hit, and like you said, Jake McCabe coming in at $2 million. So the same thing they're paying Justin Hall. They can have Jake McCabe, a $4 million defenseman for the next 2 years. I mean, the fact that they were able to get 2 more years, 50% retained for that price, it really makes some of these other trades look kind of silly. Like, Dubas really came out clean here. I got to give it to him. Biehner, what do you think? First impressions.
Just surprise and shock, really. Because, yes, okay, you're giving up draft capital, but aside from that, you're not really giving up a whole lot. We were able to do all this. We still kept Minton. We still kept Niemela. We still kept Hervinen. We still kept Nyes. And we were able to significantly alter the look of our lineup. My only partial concern, and I could be completely off the mark here with thinking this, is maybe borderline too much changeover, right? Because you can mess with chemistry too much, but we've seen how O'Reilly and Achari came in. I don't think we've got too much to worry about.
And I think that's a fair point that he's given O'Reilly and Achari a few games to see how the guys gel with 2 new pieces coming in like this and having the responsibility. And look, like you said, they've adjusted well. So I think the guys earned having some more, I don't want to say muscle brought in, but like Dubas spending more means something, right? Like guys have to earn the capital being spent. Like there's no other way to put it. And the last couple of years, it seems like as much as Leafs Nation felt like, this is going to be it, they're playing really well, I don't think management was as convinced that, Dubas could go out there and spend literally the entire future of draft picks. So it seems like they really, really, really think that this year is going to mean something different. And CJ said it on Overdrive. It seems like he's been given the go ahead to spend what he can to bring in whatever they need. So I wouldn't be surprised if a goalie move is done, just because of how much cap space they still have. The only thing is there's not much to move out now besides rostered players. Biehner, what do you think?
You also have to look at what Dubas has been able to accomplish with the draft capital he's had over the past couple of years. Even with giving up first-round picks, he's built a pretty solid pipeline of potential players coming up through. So these picks that he's dealing away, especially, a 2025 first-round pick, there's a very good potential. Yeah, there's a very good potential that player will never play with Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner or whatever. Because unless they are, I think the NHL has been very lucky over the last 10 years. Unless they're a generational talent or a high-end talent, most first-round picks don't typically jump right into the league and play great. They still could be a couple years away. Well, that's a couple years away. You draft them 3-4 years down the line after that. Who knows what could happen, right? So as much as everybody's criticizing him over a 2025 first round pick, I'm not concerned.
And I think the other thing to note is that all these prospects that everybody was worried about losing, it was a pretty long list. And not only did we not lose any of them, it's a long list. That just shows how he's drafted over the last, like you said, he hasn't had a first round pick every year at the bottom of the league where you're drafting high. Like he's made do with what the Leafs have, and everybody wants these prospects. So the fact that he was able to hold on to them while bringing all of this in, we got rid of Joey Anderson and Adam Gaudette are the only rostered players, and they're barely rostered. So that's kind of the biggest win here is there's no, we're talking about chemistry. There's no big shakeup that's happened. As much as people are saying ship Kerfoot out of here or ship Hall, I think those are going to be bigger chemistry impact players to move out than, an Anderson or a Gaudette. No offense to them.
But if you go by cap friendly right now, if you look at their depth chart ratings, they have the fourth line as Kerfoot, Achari, and Lafferty. If you could roll that as a fourth line, that's impressive. That's with Czar on the bench.
Yeah. Engvall, Kampf, Yarncroke as your third line.
Yeah, it's just impressive, like you guys have been saying, not losing someone off the roster. I mean, we sent down Joey Anderson for that cap flexibility, and then Gugolev, this guy could not break the Leafs roster anytime soon. I mean, he's been with the Marlies since 2020, but he got sent down to this ECHL with the Growlers this year, and the only time we kind of see names like that, or even Gaudette, had higher hopes for him, but he caught the injury bug and then simply wasn't good enough to stay up. So it's a huge, huge win for me. Man, we have our Kyle Dubas glasses on right now because this is a Woobus. This is a dub for Dubas. I don't know how else you put it, because Tanner Jeannot last night, damn, they gave up more picks for him than we gave up combined this year, it seemed, for our brand new roster.
They have no picks left for eternity. It's crazy.
Yeah,
No,
I saw a tweet out there. Sorry, Suthy. I just saw a tweet randomly out there that said something like, in a comparison to Boston and Don Sweeney, in recent years, he turned Haula, Donato, Smith, Bjork, Vakanainen, Moore, 2 first-rounders, and 7 additional picks into Coyle, Taylor Hall, Lindholm, Zacha, Orlov, Hathaway. But Dubas, only in this year, has turned Abramov, Anderson, Gaudette, Gugolev, Curtis Douglas, and then the 6 picks into Ryan O'Reilly, Noah Chari, Jake McCabe, Lafferty, Connor Timmins, you can't forget him. Dryden Hunt was also in the mix. And, a couple months ago, we were juggling Malgin, Robertson, these other guys that we weren't sure they were on the fringe, right? Or injury. And look at us now.
It's honestly, it feels like what you see other teams do at the deadline when everyone's loading up and you're like, and the Leafs are going to do nothing. And it's the end of the deadline. This year, it's like, oh, guys, like it's us this time. It's us. Everybody's afraid of us now. I like it.
With everyone coming in, we have to believe there's another move. Like we have too many players right now, right? That someone has to come out. If we bring Murray back, we're over the cap. So I put this to you. Who do you think is on the out?
Man, that's tough because I know everybody's saying like, oh, Kerfoot's gone, but it's all just like people. I don't like when people are like, oh, just ship out the guy that I don't like. It's like, what realistically makes the most sense? It's probably going to be like CJ mentioned on Overdrive. There's interest in some of these pending UFAs that the Leafs have. So maybe it's Pierre Engvall.
Mm-hmm. Justin Hall.
You think teams would be interested in Hall? Like, I know they have a surplus of defensemen, but I think it's going to be Hall or Engvall, just because Hall's a right-handed defenseman. He only makes $2 million, and Engvall's got the size that I think if people are going to give him like maybe a second line opportunity and give him the minutes and see what happens, it's in a different environment, maybe he thrives. But
we have 8 NHL caliber defensemen on the roster.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Also, if Jake McCabe doesn't take number 24, I quit.
And there's also
Simmons has
Nyes might be coming too after
right.
the Frozen 10. He said he'll be competing for a spot as well. So there's a surplus of players, and it just means that someone's definitely going to have to be on the out.
So we mentioned Daily Faceoff has the bottom 6 as Kampf with Engvall and Yarncroke, and then Achari with Kerfoot and Lafferty. Where do you realistically see Sam Lafferty playing? He's a center and right wing. Do you see him as the fourth line right winger?
I see him on the third line.
Yeah, you think? And bumping Yarncroke down?
Whew, it's hard, right? You got to think that the next move has to be one of Engvall, Hall, or Kerfoot. Like, Yarncroke's not going anywhere. David Kampf, like, even Justin Hall. I just, this feeling has not gone away. Even with these monster moves and Dubas finding some balls, like, I feel like Justin Hall will be a forever Leaf. But, man, maybe goaltending, right? Like, Murray's supposed to be coming back, but we're still over $1 million the cap, right? With him out, and I don't know. It's those numbers. Do we waive, like Cali Cartel said on our Discord, Pierre Engvall? That's a $2 million.
Somebody would take him.
Yeah, you can definitely recoup at least a lower round draft pick for him.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if people are interested in their expiring contracts, there's quite a few of them that the Leafs could try to offload before they just walk in free agency. I mean, as useful as they would be, if it means bringing somebody in that's more useful, like, go for it. And that's why I say somebody like Pierre Engvall, who I think is good for a team that's in a rebuilding situation, and less so for the Leafs right now, where he's still trying to find how to put 2 and 2 together with his game. Like, he's got the size, he just needs to figure out how to score. Like, he could be Chris Kreider and score 50 goals if he could put that together, but he's still not there yet. So I think teams have that magical bean, as they say, the question mark essence of him gives him some value, I think.
He's like a tall Kerf or Kapanen.
Yeah.
He does a bunch of little things right, and he has potential, and he has physical elements that are really, intriguing to general managers. He just can never put it all together.
If he could just crash the net and be like JVR and stand there and push people, just be like, no, you're not moving me from the front of the net. I'm going to stand right here and I'm going to deflect it in. If he just made that his game, he could score as many goals as he wanted.
Yeah, and where the Leafs are right now, like, he doesn't bring anything to the table that anyone else does. And so he is, like Biehner said, he is expandable at this point.
So next one, where do you see Jake McCabe playing? Because, again, here, Daily Faceoff, they've plugged him in with Sandin on the third pair, Gio and Lilly on the second, and Mo and Brody on the first.
I would see him being with Riley on the first, because he's been playing most of the season with Seth Jones as it is. And he brings a little bit of that Muzzin element that we don't have right now, but he can still move the puck and he can still do a little bit. Like, okay, Muzzin in his prime is still better than McCabe in his prime, but I think he could potentially be the partner that we've been missing for Riley.
I completely agree.
I
Mo and
honestly
McCabe.
think.
Sorry, Steph. Mo and McCabe, and then you throw like it's not really a 2 and a 3 at that point. It's a 2A and a 2B. Gio with Lily, and then Brody with Sandine. Right? You have 3 legitimate defensive pairings that you could spread the minutes around and not have to worry.
That's like a 1A, a 1B, and a 1C.
And
Right.
then your 7th defenseman is Timmins, which is pretty nice.
That's insane.
Or Hall, depending on which avenue you decide to go on.
Can we just like, I don't know about you guys, but in my lifetime, I've never seen a Leaf lineup that's this stacked before, where it's like, what is going on? We have so many players this looks like I'm playing a fucking video game.
0304, we had basically a Hall of Fame lineup. Ask Marty about it.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember the old 93, 94 lineups too, and I feel this is even way better.
Honestly, if we're tapping into, sorry,
Wasn't
just
0304 a bunch of washed up guys though? Like wasn't the guys at the
94?
end of their
0304
0304.
was, but Belfour was playing great. Neuendijk and Roberts were playing great.
Yep.
Brian Leach came over. He was incredible for us.
Okay, I was too young. Sorry. Sorry, Steph.
Jake McCabe, left-handed shot. Honestly, if I'm tapping into Keefe's brain right now, because Dubas said straight up, it's up to Keefe and the coaching staff to determine where these guys are going to play and when. Are they going to start on Wednesday and, there's back-to-back this week, or get more practices in? I think they're going to pair him with Hall. I think the first game, it's going to be McCabe and Hall on the second pairing, maybe Riley Brody on the first pairing, and then Gio Lily. Like, I feel like Sandine is the one rotating with Timmins right now. Unfortunately, like the way we want it to happen, I feel like it's going to be Hall and McCabe. I don't know. Or maybe McCabe and Gio, because Gio seems like that security blanket, or even Brody, between Brody and Gio for new defensive partners, and they can both play on each side. So I hope I'm wrong.
The only thing is you kind of want to have a little bit of a defensive-minded guy and a little bit of an offensive-minded guy together as a pair, right? So if you're looking at your defensive-minded ones, that's pretty much going to be Brody, Gio, and McCabe. So you wouldn't really want to put Brody with McCabe. Like, obviously you could. They're all NHL players. But it would be nice if you could have a little mixture with both pairings. Because if you look over the course of time, sorry, Suthy, some of the best offensive defensemen, like look at Carlson when he was with the Senators. He was primarily with Mark Mathot, if I'm not mistaken. And Mathot was he was just going to shut everything down. And Carlson was able to just light the league up. So if you can get two guys that can build that chemistry together that know, okay, I'm going to run up because I know he's got my back here, we can do this.
Yeah, ideally, that's definitely what you want. I think in the next week or two, you're going to see musical chairs on the back end. People will be coming in and out of the lineup, and he's going to see what works and doesn't work. But, and as Johnny said earlier, this is a pretty exciting time to be a Leafs fan. We have not had solid front-to-back lineup like this decades.
Yeah, and good to note too, man, this guy has the passion. He had every Canadian team on his no-trade list except for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Clearly clearly these guys think that the Leafs can go all the way. He comes in tied with Gio in blocks, leads all defenders in hits. Man, if you look at the Chicago Blackhawks lineup, like they're a minus 62 goal differential. McCabe was the only player out of the whole roster, it seemed. I think there was only a small handful that wasn't in the negatives, and he played on that team as a +7. Like, this gives you high hopes because, damn, especially with Seth Jones, right? Being paired with Seth Jones, you're always facing top 6 guys, eating minutes like crazy. That's impressive.
I think it's a good point. I think it's a good point that you brought up about him not having Toronto on his no-trade list, because just looking, Lafferty and McCabe are both American. And I know, at first glance, that doesn't seem like a huge deal, but the message that sends, that Dubas has created an environment there that it's not about, oh, I'm going to Canada. Like, it puts the Leafs in the circle of like, I'm going to a winning team. Like, that's not an easy place to get your franchise to. But now it's like people are just willing to come here and waive no trade clauses because they think that this is going to be the place to win. So, you know, good on them for that, because that was not an easy feat. Something that Masai had to overcome with the Raptors as well.
No, it's true. And like, we're looking at Carolina, we're looking at Tampa Bay, we're looking at Boston. Like, we are fucking going to war these playoffs. So without these moves, we didn't stand a chance. Yeah, it's just so impressive what he's been able to pull off in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Dubas was saying in the media conference there that they've been watching him for a while. It's not like he's just been a new name being thrown around the barrel here. They spoke to him as a free agent coming off the ACL injury, and it's all about timing, right? Even Noah Achari, when he was a free agent, he was talking to Toronto, and Ryan O'Reilly like always had this in the back of his mind, but never thought it could be possible. So if they aren't a hometown boy, you have to just keep that lineage strong and, you know, follow back and circle back to these players and see, you know, hey, we can make this work. Are you in it with us? Are you in it to win it now? Because now is the time. So I don't know. It's exciting, man. Just crazy. And something to note too, before I'm done ranting about Jake McCabe. Leafs legend number Luke Shin and Ron Hainsey, they both wore number 2, and Jake McCabe will be wearing number 2 as well. Good number.
Love it.
Nice. That's fun. That's actually such a throwback for Leafs D. Yeah, and it's also worth noting neither of them played for, like, you know, the Sioux Greyhounds or something. Like, these are guys coming out of the NCAA mostly, so it's not following what Dubas would normally do, and everyone can be like, oh yeah, well, that's such a Dubas move to make. It's a hometown Toronto guy, or it's a Sioux Greyhound guy. This is like, no, I'm doing this for the team. I'm going after what they need. So it's a big step, I think, and he knows that he needs a contract this year, and good for him.
Yeah. Sam Lafferty is going to be wearing number 28.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also in Cap Friendly, he's listed as all 3 positions, guys. Apparently he can play it all. So
really, he doesn't have left wing on Yahoo, because I actually checked because I was curious.
Oh, wow.
Center and right.
But Dubas said he watched him in Pittsburgh, and like, I don't know. We're kind of throwing these Marlies names around too because they got traded. But the thing I appreciated about Dubas today was that he used Bobby McMahon and Alex Steeves as an example of the types of players he's looking for. Because when describing Sam Lafferty and what he can bring to this team, he literally just said, he threw out those names and was like, yeah, we model their gameplay. And it's nice to have guys like that who can rotate out of the lineup, but now we have some NHL experience to go along with that.
Yeah, he really touched on making sure that the team was competitive and that everybody was going to compete all the time. And it was brought up to him about guys being able to score the playoff style goal, and he kind of agreed with him. He didn't really want to, you know, get into the naming it, you know, a playoff style, but that these types of players, they've proven in the past, they have the ability to score from in tight. Not that the guys at the top of the roster can't, but the guys at the top of the roster don't have to get in tight. They can score from the face-offs, like the blue lines with a wrist shot, right?
You kind of want this move to infect like the top of the roster too. Like, if they're seeing these guys bust their ass in their bodies on the bottom lines, like doing everything to score dirty goals, I guarantee you're going to see Matthews get to those grimy spots more. You're going to see Marner doing it. It's just going to be infectious, the way they play and like the attitude that they bring.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'll be nice to just have some finish there as well, because, I mean, I feel like these guys have been able to get, we talked about this, 95% of the way there. Like, they can kill the clock, they can hold it down in the corners, which is all useful, but it's just the actual goal generation has not been coming from the third and fourth line this year. So I think these really help, because like the addition of O'Reilly pushes people down, and then you're bringing in Achari and Lafferty to help everybody out down there. So I think it's really going to help round out where the scoring comes from. And like you said, Suthy, just lighten the load and allow the guys on the top to do a little more.
Yeah, to your point, like that's a matchup nightmare for whoever you're going up against.
Yeah, and 2 games ago against Chicago, who scored that nasty goal? Even Yarncroke had the miss pass backwards, and who came swooping in and scored, right? It was Sam Lafferty.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to have some of that. And he's over
Darty?
50% on the dot. Hey, Darty.
Hello, fam jam. I miss you all. It's been a couple episodes, and there's a lot to talk about. And I figured even if I didn't have anything to say, I need to be a part of this because this is huge. Just like that guy who sells cars over in Grand Island. It's huge.
You got to get your dub glasses on there, Darty.
Darty, I know you've got something to say, bud.
We've got all the Dubas glasses.
I want to hear what you guys all say. I want to get involved in the conversation, and then I'll put my 2 cents in because you know how I hijack things. I'm already doing it right now, so I'd rather avoid that if I can.
Well, honestly, we were just kind of getting to the end, and I was going to play the clip that we had sent in. If you want to comment on that,
Sure.
This is a take from Facebook from Paul Potterman. Thank you for sending this in.
Yeah, so this is regarding the Jake McCabe trade that happened today. So for anyone that's bitching and complaining or, is talking shit about the trade, obviously they don't pay attention to, other teams. Jake McCabe is definitely the gritty player that the Leafs need other than Giordano. Giordano can't really do everything himself, right? So it was kind of a cost-nothing trade, but it definitely boosts the Leafs, defensive-wise. Jake is a fast skater, and the forward, I won't lie, I don't know, a fucking thing about him, but I looked at his stats, and he has 21, points this season, which isn't terrible. So, yeah, I am pro Jake McCabe trade, and anyone who says otherwise can suck it.
Nice.
So, Darty, what do you think?
First of all, I am so glad that we have whatever the hell this is now because that's cool. Okay, we got some questions from the crowd. Okay, I really feel like Hollywood Squares, and sitting here in my little square, what do I have to say? Well, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I know everything there is to know about McCabe and Lafferty, but what I will tell you with my dub glasses on is that Mr. Dubas seems to have a pretty good idea of what is necessary to build greatness on this team. And fun fact, sometimes these things don't fucking work, all right? Sometimes we get people that just don't, they're great in theory, but they're not the puzzle piece that needs to be here, right? But this guy's had some time now, and he didn't give away anything that was going to cripple our team. Like at the end of the day, there's a lot of pieces he could have got rid of that I guess maybe people would have preferred we got some money out, like, if we were able to get rid of Kerfoot or Hall, but that could be coming, right? But having another defenseman right now, having another, I guess he's a strong center. I don't have the numbers to back me up, and numbers have been killing me today. People have been throwing numbers at me left, right, and center, calling me an idiot. But from everything I've heard about this Lafferty fellow, like, he's someone you want on your fourth line, right? And we need more looks, I think, because I still don't, like, I've been saying this since the beginning of the season, I still don't think that fourth line really has a identity yet, and maybe something like one other kick of the can with something fresh will liven them up. And again, we can't not have a wealth of D, because at this point injuries will kill us, and they're going to happen. I'm not even gonna knock on wood. We're gonna get injuries, and whether this McCabe guy turns out to be a bust or not, we're gonna need him. So there you go.
Hey, and I think what the biggest part of this, Darty, is that these are not just guys that are coming in as rentals, right? Like, we got McCabe for the next 2 years and Lafferty for this year and next.
It's only $2 million, right? It's not anything crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not William Nylander's $2 million on Wikipedia. It's a real, $2 million.
Can you guys guess the total number hits between Alex Kerfoot, Pierre Engvall, and who is it? I had this all figured out here. Hold on.
No, I remember. I know the tweet you're talking about.
Yes. I had it. Oh my God. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yarncroke. Sorry, guys.
So,
Alex Kerfoot, Engvall, and Yarncroke compared to Jake McCabe, Lafferty, and Achari. So in total, the two numbers, closest wins. We'll start with the old Leafs. Guesses? This season only.
Like, it's like 104.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Three of them.
80, 85.
Okay. Johnny's closest. We'll go 115. Now guess our new additions.
Like 383.
I feel like that's a
You're
pretty good
so
answer.
close.
Yeah, I feel like it's like probably pushing 400, right?
384.
What? No way. That's really good.
Johnny, you win both prizes. The price is right, bud.
Damn. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, this is a huge improvement to shut up all the boomers, right? Everyone complaining about that physical element and like we have too many small statured players on this team who's afraid to throw the bot. I know, cough, cough, Pierre Engvall, holy shit. But damn, like Achari, a forward out of everything, right? Just, I don't know. I feel like the Leafs are finally coming together with this bottom six identity.
Even since Achari's came on, like Zach Aston Reese is hitting, all these guys are starting to lay the body a bit more. Like I said, this is infectious what these guys bring, and this is what we need going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't Tanner Jeannot have like 383 hits on his own?
Tanner Jeannot? Who the hell is this guy? All right, like I know I've heard great things about him, but let's be real. Nobody really gave a fuck about Tanner Jeannot until he got traded. Don't lie to me. Unless you're an absolute nerd sitting on your fantasy, nobody cared about Tanner Jeannot. Not a single person cared about Tanner Jeannot until they heard his name in the trade. Shut up. All right.
He was in the race for the
Calder
last year.
Yeah, but 90% of the people bitching about him did not know a fucking thing about him. Like, you're lying to yourself if you did. You didn't care about him. I can guarantee it, all right? The other 10% who are actual nerds who care about this, fine. But the fact that we're having vitriol about Tanner Jeannot getting traded is bullcrap because you didn't know. You didn't, all right? Half of Twitter is liars and the other half is nerds, all right? And I'm here to say that most of you are lying nerds, okay?
All I gotta say is that Holmberg has 13 points in 36 games this season. Jeannot has 14 points in 56 games this season. We already have several versions of Tanner Jeannots on our team, and it didn't take 50 million draft picks to acquire them.
They spent all those picks for 213 hits. That's what it is.
Well, wouldn't
you
you know?
A lot of capital for him.
He's a Tom Wilson, you know?
Except
He's
Tom
the
Wilson's
next
still
Tom
injured,
Wilson.
right? So
He's been on
No.
and off IR.
is Tom,
Yeah, he's active.
he's active?
I mean, he's been like back and forth like since he came back, but yeah.
Yeah, it's new. But yeah, just craziness. And no one expected that because of Tampa's fourth line. Well, like Belmar, Corey Perry, and the other fucknut who all they do is hit, right?
Well, they shipped Cal Foot out.
Yeah, and he was a 17th overall pick from 2017 or whatever it was. So that's another first rounder
McDonough in
gone.
there too.
But we're talking about
Like their
identity here.
defense is a lot lesser than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Guys, McDavid just scored his 50th goal.
Yay.
Hey,
Damn.
let's see if they make the
Talk
Talk to
playoffs.
me when he hits 60.
But guys, that fourth
Yeah.
line in Tampa, like they had an identity as being old crusty bastards, and now you're adding Jeannot, who I'm assuming is not an old crusty bastard. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think he'll fit in there. It'd be great, but like, you know, he's going to outpace the like. Are they still going to have Perry and Belmar? And what's the?
Yeah, that's going to be an annoying third and fourth line there.
I think Nemestikov comes out of the third line right wing position, and Jeannot sneaks in there. But I'm just guessing. I don't see
think
how
so.
much of an upgrade he is besides of the physical aspect.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But I'd take a fourth line of Kerfoot and Achari and Lafferty going against a fourth line of Maroon, Belmar, and Perry.
Any day.
Oh yeah, Maroon.
I forgot about Fat Pat. Oh, we can't call him that anymore.
that's mean.
I'm so sorry.
He doesn't like that.
He doesn't like that. All right, even though he is a big, scary man.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Only other trade that's happened is Riley Stillman goes to Buffalo.
Guys, Sam Lafferty took Joey Anderson's old number. So no time between that switch. Number
No
28.
love lost.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, well, I don't have any other clips to play. That was the only one that we sent in. But if you want your clip to be played, send it, and I can throw it on this super fun media board here and play it for everybody. So send in audio questions. LeafsLateNight@gmail.com. LeafsLateNight@gmail.com. Anything you guys want to add before we hop out of here? Because I'm not doing the whole thing.
Sandine, Lilly, Geo, Timmins, and McCabe are all worth 6.7 mil.
That's
All
Combined?
together. Combined.
insane.
That's disgusting.
So good.
Meanwhile, Edmonton is paying over $9 million and trying to find a defenseman. So
Yeah, wait till they bring in Carl Suthy for 14, whatever.
Are they not
is retained? But
also trying to find a goaltender? Right? Like is Skinner the guy again, or what's the?
I think they're handcuffed this year at least.
Speaking of goalie troubles, did you see Laurent Boissois out and Logan Thompson's out? What the hell is Vegas going to do now?
Aiden Hill, baby.
Ugh. The team is just like, throw them on IR. We'll make a trade.
And speaking of injury, right, just to cap off the Leafs here, Dubas said in his media availability that, last year they had the option to explore further, but Sandine ended up injured. So they used that flexibility, they just stowed him instead and kind of waited. And this time around, he kind of, preached that, if time is on your side, you might as well use it. But this time around, it might be a little different because Murray's coming off LTIR and does someone get injured from now until Friday? Then they have to manipulate that small amount of cap space until April, or do they just go all in and make that final move? And we have to say goodbye to a couple pieces we're used to. So lots to be done, right? I don't know.
Still a few days left here.
Well, everybody's still talking.
Yeah.
Do you guys actually think that Kerfoot's staying? Right? Because I'm seeing 50-50, right? He's a movable piece.
he is.
People.
Unless you're bringing in somebody who's more effective, I don't really see the point in moving him out, I guess.
The only thing is with, if you just going from Cap Friendly's depth charts right now, that has Czar on the bench. Czar almost, Kerfoot's a very good third liner, but unless he's willing to change his game, maybe he's kind of miscast on the fourth line. So you could potentially move him out, maybe package him and Hall to recoup some draft picks, or if you were looking at an upgrade in net, if you wanted that, go that way, because then you would still have 7 quality defensemen, even if you move Hall, and you would still have a handful of good forwards, because like Steph said in the media availability, Dubas mentioned Holmberg, mentioned McCann, mentioned Steves. He was happy with how those guys have been playing. So there's still a lot of options here, and it's really refreshing and basically exciting that we can go into trade deadline with this many options.
I think he's so valuable because when he does move up on the lineup, he's incredibly good. So if there's an injury, you kind of want that insurance right now, I think. That's one reason I don't think they would trade him.
Yeah, it's hard. And, I think Dubas has been doing a great job going by the fly and reassessing the situation, because entering this year, we were banking on Malgin and Robertson to play in our top 6. And, that didn't work out. And this is the final push. So I say if it's on his mind, fucking do it. Just do it already and get it over with so we can have our final, roster completed, because it just reminds me of this tweet too that stuck in my mind. This guy named Kyle Keefe, he tweeted on January 12th about the Colorado Avalanche saying...
No relation to Sheldon Keefe.
No. He does have a blue check mark, though. I don't know. Anyway, the tweet said, frustrated, losing, dysfunctional, OT winning. It is now January 12th. Check back with me. April 4th, this team wins. They will find a way. And remember, the Avalanche weren't doing well. Like, they were way outside of a spot, and we were worried about them. Since then, they are 13-2-1, and we no longer have those thoughts of, are the Avalanche going to make the playoffs? And any little thing can make or break your roster. And I feel like if Kerfoot is going to be that single piece who does that backhand, no-look fucking pass that leads to a goal, get rid of him. Like, I don't know, send him to the island. I feel like Dubas takes care of his players, and I mean Vancouver, not Robidas. Go home, take care of himself, rejoin your family, and yeah. What do you guys think? Kerfoot to Vancouver? Yeah.
That seems likely.
Again, unless you're bringing in something that's going to replace him that's more useful in the third and fourth line, I don't see the point.
Same.
Okay, well, we will check back before Friday, see if anything happens. Otherwise, we'll see you guys, now that we're all here. Let's actually talk about this. We got some late games. The next two are Edmonton and Calgary. I'm not staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning on a weekday to do this, but
I might.
What night? You guys are welcome to do it. I can edit it after, but we can do one like Thursday.
8 p.m. Wednesday and
like
9 p.m. Thursday.
And if none of you guys,
trade deadline's Friday.
If none of you beautiful people show up, I was actually thinking, like, I had a lot of free time on Wednesday. I was actually considering going over every single Leafs highlight this year, making notes, and then doing an episode on that, like from start to end, to see how we've gone.
Morning dart.
Damn.
Bring it back. Bring back the morning dart.
Also, guys, the Canada soccer president resigned today. Just want to throw that out there. Nick Bontiti, or whatever how the fuck you say his name, he has resigned, and that is good. So,
yay!
Better things coming for Canada soccer.
Okay, I'm sleepy. Let's get out of here. Good night.
Sleepy.
Good night, all.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Leafs Late Night, your night of post-game podcast. Available after every game on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and more.
You can also block us on Twitter, because that's cool too. And also Marty Zylstra.
Oh, Darty.